All the weather records Irma has set, met, or broken. Despite recently being downgraded to a tropical storm, Hurricane Irma broke several meteorological records as it rampaged through the Caribbean and Florida. Irma began as a tropical storm, but quickly strengthened to a hurricane in the middle of the Atlantic. It generated the most accumulated cyclone energy by a tropical cyclone ever recorded. More than 18 entire hurricane seasons since 1966. Irma clocked in 185-mile-per-hour winds for 37 hours, which is the longest time a tropical cyclone has maintained winds of that intensity. It was the strongest storm to hit the Leeward Islands, the first Category 5 hurricane to hit the Bahamas since 1992, and Cuba since 1924. It's also the first major hurricane to make landfall in Florida since Wilma in 2005. The hurricane prompted the largest evacuation in the Bahamas, with 5,000 leaving the islands. Some 6.3 million Floridians were also instructed to evacuate. With Irma and Harvey just days apart, 2017 also marks the first time the U.S. was hit by two Category 4 hurricanes in one season. The combined cost of damage brought about by the storms may also be one of the country's most expensive. Hopefully, though, the worst is over, especially since experts say September 10th marks the peak of this year's Atlantic hurricane season. Storms are coming! What is a storm surge? As Hurricane Irma makes its way up Florida, residents near the coast not only have to worry about wind and rain, but also storm surges. A storm surge is an enormous mound of water that accumulates and is pushed ashore by hurricane winds. About 1,000 miles of coastline from Tampa Bay to parts of South Carolina could experience a storm surge. Forecasters warn of a 10 to 15-foot surge in the Naples area and 5 to 8 feet around Tampa. Storm surge watches and warnings are not always included with hurricane alerts because hurricane winds and storm surges don't always occur at the same place or same time. During a storm surge, people should evacuate. For wind warnings, they may stay in place as long as the structure they're in is stable and away from flood risk areas. A storm surge watch is issued when there's a chance of flooding, while a warning is issued when flooding is expected. According to the National Hurricane Center, storm surges are responsible for around half of hurricane deaths since 1970. The National Weather Service only started issuing storm surge alerts this hurricane season. Stay safe out there, folks. Sharknado is real in Australia, mate. Australia, where one minute you're throwing another shrimp on the barbie, and the next minute sharks are just dropping out of the sky. The awesome power of nature was on full display in Oz this week when Cyclone Debbie battered the country's east coast with winds of up to 114 miles per hour. Even the deep blue sea offered no hiding place from the fierce storm, with some of Australia's famous deadly wildlife getting caught up in it all. It appears the cyclone picked up a 5-foot-long bull shark, then dumped the beast on a road in a rural Queensland town. These photos were posted to Facebook by the local fire service. They warned that even though floods brought by the cyclone were receding, it wasn't safe to go back into the water just yet. So to anyone who ever mocked the Sharknado franchise, we say this: Sharknado isn't bull, it's real, and it happened down under. Of course, there's also the possibility that the shark was washed onto land by floodwaters. Either way, be careful out there, mates! Good Samaritans rescue baby and toddler from Texas storm. A vicious storm that ravaged North Texas over the weekend claimed the lives of at least 4. It could have easily claimed 2 more if it wasn't for a group of strangers that sprung into action when help was needed most. Since being uploaded to Facebook on April 29th, this video capturing efforts to free a newborn and a toddler from drowning has been viewed more than 26 million times. As you can see, rushing waters flooded the side of a road near Canton, Texas. As winds raged, Philip and Emily Ogletree's Chevy Silverado pickup truck fell victim to one of Mother Nature's nasty moods. With their 4-month-old baby boy, an 18-month-old little girl trapped in the back seat, the family of 4 had little to no hope of escaping on their own. Luckily for them in their hour of need, the few folks who passed by didn't hesitate to come to their aid. Diving into the water and using a tire iron, lots of muscle, and spontaneous teamwork, they managed to pry the young children loose from the car and get them to safety.
The baby in. Baby here. Right here!
The infants, however, were blue in the face, bleeding from the mouth and barely breathing. That's when the man shooting the scene started performing CPR, as a woman prayed to Jesus right behind him.
Breathing. She is breathing. Yeah.
There she goes.
Can't do it, man. Yeah.
Miraculously, seconds before paramedics arrived on scene, he managed to bring them both back to life. Status updates from the parents indicate their youngest child, baby Marshall, is doing well, and little Addison, despite initially needing a breathing machine to keep her alive, is now awake and on the road to recovery. Today, a family is whole again, thanks to some of the bravest hearts in Texas, and maybe baby Jesus.